Hey there, this is Judson, welcome back to our channel. This is the third video in a series that we are making about the repairs of two very old Mark I Ford Escorts from the 1970s and the reason why we're doing this, so to participate to the Mongol Rally 2023. I'm not gonna go through the details about the origin of this project, but if you are curious, you can go check the other episodes that I'll link up here and in the description. In the last episode, we left with the Drabbing having some kind of issue coming from its engine bay, so now it's the proper time to go on and check what happened. Honestly, I did not dare to start the car again, so I pushed it into the garage and waited for the guys before doing anything. Clearly there is something wrong with this cooling system, and in order not to make any additional damage to the engine, we have to exactly pin down where this problem lies. First we opened the radiator and that is what we found inside. Sassi, micro sassi, sembra una ghiaietta. Well, this is a valid starting point. First we poured some cleaning solution specific for radiator and engines.
Tutto? Questo dovrebbe rimuovere.
Questo dovrebbe staccare tutto quello che riguarda ruggine, incrostazioni di calcare.
Adesso accendo il motore?
Sì, adesso accendiamo il motore.
By heating the engine, the solution should start flowing from the radiator to the engine itself, cleaning everything along the cooling system.
L'abbiamo solo messo dentro.
Immaginavo.
Some superficial rust is already coming off, but there's no flow yet.
Nice.
After 20 minutes of the engine running like this, there was something wrong, which is there was no flow of the fluid. In fact, the heat of the engine should have opened a thermostat, which allows the flow of the hot water inside the engine to the radiator where it can be cooled and then brought back again to the engine. For more details, check the link in the description.
Comunque sta fumando, non so
Sì,
se
è
si
normale.
vede. No, per far capire che era caldo il motore, ma non si è aperto.
Thus, we have to extend our investigation to the thermostat, with some valuable support.
Come va?
Bene.
Ma cosa bene? Ma voi siete
ma siamo all'inizio, dobbiamo fare un...
non siete matti voi.
No, la macchina funziona perfettamente, però c'è il dubbio che l'impianto di raffreddamento non vada tanto bene, quindi
Tanto
dobbiamo potenziarlo in ogni caso.
Mettiamo di ghiaccio.
Mettiamo il ghiaccio, sì.
Mettiamo-
Nell'Azerbaigian il ghiaccio si trova facile.
We thanked my dad for his precious suggestions, and meanwhile we got access to the thermostat. As we imagine, this thermostat has clearly seen better days, and most certainly needs replacing.
Com'è? Brutto?
Molto usurato.
Molto usurato. No.
Adesso lo scopriamo quanto è usurato.
That printed number shows the temperature at which the thermostat should open by retraction of its thermosensitive materials, thus allowing the free flow of coolant.
Dopo quanto tempo dovrebbe aprirsi?
Con questa fiamma? Molto poco.
This one should have opened at 88 degrees Celsius, but it did not.
E non sta succedendo niente.
That lighter is burning at hundreds if not thousands of degrees Celsius, so it's way above the threshold. Luckily, we bought in advance a brand new thermostat, and aside from being shiny new, it is basically the same, but with an even lower threshold of 74 degrees. And do you know where we got these repair parts and lots more? But from Motomobile, of course! Maybe you too have considered or have already started a restoration project for your old Ford. But these ladies often need repair parts that are very difficult to find. If that's your case, look no further. The guys and ladies at Motomobile have everything you may need, from major components to small, incredibly rare pieces. So thank you once again Motomobile for sponsoring this video and making our restoration possible. And now back to our thermostats. We made a brief test with the lighter again, but we feared of damaging it, which would have been a pity. Thus we tested it more properly, with boiling water.
Vedi che è aperto.
Si è aperto all'istante?
Nell'arco di anche 40 secondi questo.
Ah, è vero.
Sì, anche se è aperto. Perfetto.
The spring has retracted with the heat, opening the valve.
Adesso per gioco buttiamo quello vecchio.
Ma
Guardalo che adesso lo vedi rientrare lentamente, guarda. Molto lentamente, perché ora che la cera perde la temperatura.
At room temperature they should go back into resting position. The old one, meanwhile,
Non mi sembra si sia mosso.
did not open despite the heat. So, thermostat checked. And now back to the rest of the cooling system.
E questa è la ruggine che c'è dentro il motore.
La ruggine è perfettamente normale, non in queste quantità.
In order to clean right away the other components of the cooling system, we poured the radiator cleaner once again inside the radiator and we remounted the thermostat cover but without the thermostat. In this way we do not have to wait for the engine to be hot in order for the cleaner to start flowing directly in.
Manca il termostato e quindi un po' di acqua da lì esce.
Quindi adesso in teoria sta già flushando.
Sì.
E si può aprire senza che...
Ecco la differenza che vi dicevo, questo sì che è molto diverso.
E sta tirando su.
We let it circulate for a while. That product is very good in detaching rust and scales from the system. But to do a nice job, we also need to wash everything properly.
Oh madonna mia.
Nesquik! Vuoi il Nesquik?
Holy shit. Ah, è proprio marrone. Marrone è meglio non dire.
But that doesn't apply only to the radiator, of course.
Direi che spurga.
While at it, and given the kind of journey that we plan to make, we thought of applying a little upgrade.
Questo qui è un pezzo di radiatore, giusto?
Affermativazione.
È il contrario però.
Esatto, questo è il nostro radiatore.
E questo qui già montata.
E adesso
E
vi
mo.
facciamo vedere la precisione millimetrica in cui montiamo la seconda parte.
Radiatore nuovo di zecca.
We took some measures beforehand, but will it really fit?
È giusto?
Perfect! Now we just need to wire the fans properly.
Abbiamo questo che poi va di là, che poi va di qui, che poi va alla scatola diffusibile e quando attacchi quello è un relè, giusto?
E lo metti a
Quando
massa.
lo metti a massa
Succede la magia.
Last step, pull the wires inside the car.
Questo interruttore temporaneo che 0 non succede niente, 1 lasciamo decidere al sensore e 2 invece sempre accese le ventole come forse si sente.
We should be pretty much done. We poured the radiator fluid inside the radiator, waiting for the engine to start heating and letting the radiator fluid flow. Leave the system expel some bubbles of air.
Sì, guarda che fa le bolle.
And then open the bleeding valve for any residual bubble.
Purtroppo siffattamente la spaziazione è quella che è.
Beh, l'aria sarà uscita allora. O forse no.
Ok.
And we also went an extra length and bought a new radiator cap, which was sturdier than the previous non-original one and could withstand more pressure from the radiator, but not excessively. And now it was the perfect time to go out and check the car. And how did it go?
Ok raga, la buona notizia è che il sensore funziona perfettamente anche perché è andato bello sul rosso. La cattiva notizia è che dopo 20 km fatti in autostrada a 90 all'ora la macchina è in ebollizione tipo 6 volte, ho dovuto fermarmi, aspettare, fermarmi, aspettare, fermarmi, aspettare. Quindi l'impianto di raffreddamento non ha non è a posto, qualcosa che non va.
Apparently, we could not fix the issue by going through the things that you would normally check when you have this kind of problem. But this overheating thing has got on the top of our priority list, because the car is unusable in this way, and it poses serious risk for its own very functioning and for our own safety. The guys already knew what would be next on our checklist. They hypothesized a possible CO2 leak. In an internal combustion engine, the cooling system and the cylinder where fuel is burnt are completely separated. But the engine is not a monolith, it is composed of several parts, the main ones being the block and the head. And between them there is a gasket that prevents any communication between the cooling system and the piston cylinders where fuel is burnt and exhaust gases are produced. The gasket is a deformable seal that, under pressure between the block and the head, will hermetically separate these and other components, like the oil system. However, if the gasket is not good at separating this kind of systems, the gases producing during the combustion, which have a much higher pressure than the water flowing through the cooling system, will infiltrate the cooling system and make its temperature rise very high. Thus, those temperatures will make that coolant boil. If there is a leak of combustion gases from the exhaust chambers to the cooling system, then we will detect inside the cooling system some gases that should not be there, and that is mainly CO2. So, if there is CO2 inside the cooling system, that is the proof that something is wrong at that level. Let's non-invasively check this.
Cos'è questo, ragazzi?
Elevatore di perdite CO2.
Honestly, none of us have ever used this kind of thing, and there were no instructions inside the box, so we had to look at some YouTube videos for reference.
Test della CO2.
The way this works is quite simple.
Sembra una cosa da alchimista.
Basically, if there is any CO2 in the cooling system, and it should not be, it will pass through this siphon and chemically react with the testing solution, changing its color.
Quindi cosa dovrebbe succedere?
Se hai problemi diventa giallo.
La parte sotto? Parte sopra? Beh, un po' citrino è diventato, Non so se è normale. Quello sopra è diventato verde.
Yeah, the color pretty much changed from the dark blue we started with. We reoxygenated the solution and it turned blue again. Then, just to be sure, we ran another test with some fresh blue fluid and watched more closely the time it would take for the color to change. Not too long, apparently. Even though it didn't get yellow, that changing color meant bad news.
Sì, non è giallo, ma se continuiamo diventerà giallo.
In order to be super extra sure, we ran a control test on Rico's own car.
Direi a posto.
Sarebbe già uscito, dici?
Almeno è diventato verde.
So we have our culprit here once again. Probably something is wrong between the head, the block or the gasket. And there is only one way to find out, which is to open the head of the engine. While the whole process of opening the head of the engine is super cool for someone that has never done this kind of things like myself, it is too long to detail this process for the purpose of this video. So I'm gonna make another video just specific only about that, and for the sake of this one I will only say that we opened the head, changed the gasket and then closed everything again according to the INS manual. So how did the car behave after this whole thing? We rerun a brief CO2 test after the gasket change and the solution did not seem to change color at all, which is good news. So we took the car on the road to have a proper test.
Hello! Hello! Tutto a posto!
La temperatura anche in questa situazione di stallo si mantiene in maniera decisamente buona. Mi sembra che le ventole, non so se sono partite, non riesco a sentirle, ma direi di no. Voglio mettere una
Since everything was running fine, we decided to do also a little uphill test.
La seconda ce la fa a salire. Però la seconda non possiamo tenerla troppo a cannone per troppo tempo, perché sennò
Fonde.
sì. Adesso per esempio la temperatura è passata dallo standard, dove era prima appena sotto la metà, ad essere appena sopra la metà. Potenza non siamo messi malissimo, perché in montagna riusciamo a tenere la terza per il saliscendi, quindi il giro in salita si fa in seconda piano se la pendenza supera i 8 gradi, in terza se la pendenza è variabile tra i 5 e i 8 gradi.
Guarda sto scricchiolio, che urto.
Even though we trusted the temperature indicator, we had also to visually check that everything was running fine.
Com'è?
Un po' d'acqua c'è, ma non si spruzza.
A much smaller quantity, but we were still losing a little bit of coolant.
Abbiamo fatto oggi un 130 km in totale. La salita è andata molto bene e ovviamente le marce sono ridotte. La macchina non sta scaldando, evapora sempre un po' d'acqua. Abbiamo rabboccato in totale
Un altro litro e mezzo, 2 mi sa.
Adesso a casa verifichiamo che non ci sia un ulteriore rabbocco enorme da fare. Controlliamo l'olio, che nel frattempo la spia della pressione si è accesa, e basta. Poi facciamo un test veloce della CO2 per vedere com'è la situazione.
How will it go this time? The color is starting to change again, but it's taking a little more time than previously. I'm going to speed up the footage and let's see where we get to. So yeah, it's better than before, but we still have a leak. The results we got tell us that we're slowly getting there, but the problem is not fixed yet, and it's crucial that it is, because in these conditions the car is not going anywhere, not even for small trips. It is in fact too dangerous to have the engine run like this, because it will break down inevitably. If a new gasket is not solving the problem, but there is still a CO2 leak, then the problem is either in the block or the head itself. And it means that the surface of the tube may not be perfectly straight, but there might be some little grooves that have created during the car's lifetime. There is no way we can fix this kind of little grooves by ourselves. We need to take the engine to an engine builder that will have the machinery needed to do this kind of straightening, and this job is called resurfacing. But in order to do that, we have to take the engine out of the car and bring it to the engine builder. It's gonna be a pretty painful job, but it's the only thing that we can do in order to have this problem fixed once and for all. There is no other way to fix this kind of problems if a new gasket is put into place and you still have CO2 inside your cooling system. So we have to do it. That's it. No way out. But for more information about this, stay tuned for the next episode. As usual, thank you very much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing all these repair jobs. We hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time.